I'm a 2-time university dropout, which, you know, it's not a bad thing like people say it is, which is why I say it like that. I am a 2-time uni dropout, and I'm proud of it. It's everybody's first time on this planet, you know?
Yeah.
Like the amount of people I've emailed versus the amount of people I've got back, like you would not believe. Like, I think that's why people get so quickly disheartened, is you have to email so many people before you do get that one response. We're all going to make so many mistakes. I've made really rubbish mistakes. Just, it happens. It's life. It's our first time here. Find me a person that's not failed or made a mistake. You won't. It's about what you do with that mistake or when you fail.
I definitely do. Like, I'm a big believer that, you know, I am a creative person when it comes to, like, you know, building and pivoting and things like that. What would you say to those people who think that business is not a creative degree?
I'm happy to say I got dumped in the bath.
She got dumped in the bath.
I got dumped in the bath. Good, that's part of the plot.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, I love that. In this episode, you're going to hear from someone who dropped out of university twice, but still believed in herself enough to take her passion and monetize it, and is now running a successful business that is helping a lot of people throughout the UK. Hello and welcome to the second episode of the Pivot Project. My name is Davika Kapoor and this is the podcast exploring career and life transitions. Today I'm here with my amazing guest, Cait Senior, founder of Create and Craft Workshops. She's running creative workshops in Manchester, Leeds, Sheffield, London and Liverpool. She's working with the likes of Pretty Little Thing, Greystar and Collier. So hi Cait.
hi.
How are you today?
I'm really good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm really, really excited. Like literally 10 minutes before this podcast episode, I was like literally dancing and yelling and screaming.
That's what you need in the morning.
I thought it'd be a really fun episode to do.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Amazing. Well, Cait, tell me a little bit about you, your business, your day-to-day. How did you become the founder of such a great workshop?
Yeah, okay. So I'm 23 years old. I'm a 2-time university dropout, which, you know, it's not a bad thing like people say it is, which is why I say it like that. I am a 2-time uni dropout, and I'm proud of it. Maybe that's taboo. When I dropped out of university, I went straight into business development, where I found a love for speaking to people and growing businesses. But I'm not very good at sitting still at a desk, and yeah, I guess the corporate world as such, where you are sat at a desk, is not for me. So then went into virtual assisting. Again, developing my skills in business development, seeing where I could help small businesses in that. And then at the beginning of last year, a few different really big life things happened in the matter of a really small time, 4 days. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to do something wild, it's going to be now. And that's where Create and Craft happened. Yeah.
So you've always been quite creative, right?
Yep. Always. Literally from like 10 years old, I can remember like knocking on my neighbours and being like, look, I can make you a card. It's like £2.50.
Really?
Yeah.
So you were literally doing crafts from like such a young age?
I was doing crafts for like a really young age. Like, because of my ADHD, my mum was constantly having to find ways to entertain me, and a lot of that was throwing craft supplies at me from like 2, 3, 4. And then as I got older, I'd be like trying to like sell it to people, like, you want this?
Amazing. So you've always had that kind of business initiative from like a young age.
Yeah, I tried from a young age. Yeah, definitely.
And then you said you went to university as well. What did you study at university both times?
So originally I went to Lancaster and I studied religion, philosophy and ethics.
Okay, very different.
Very different. I lasted from the September till the February, and then I was like, someone gotta come pick me up. Went home and I was like, well, originally I was stuck between Lancaster and Glasgow, so I was like, make the move to Glasgow. I went to Strathclyde, which is a business university, and I studied entrepreneurship and marketing. I got through year 1, I don't know how, went into year 2 and was like, I don't like this. And in Glasgow university is 4 years. I was like, I'm not doing 3 more years of this.
So then you dropped out again?
Yeah, dropped out again.
We love it. We love a dropout.
I had a great time. I started a society and I was president of radio.
Amazing. What society did you start?
a cocktail society. Because a cocktail society. So I went to Glasgow. I was like, I don't know anyone. How can I quickly meet a load of people, make a society? One that really doesn't need a common interest, really. You just go out and make friends.
Yeah, so and have a drink.
Yeah.
What's your favourite cocktail?
Maybe like a White Russian.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one. So you already like had formed something, like you kind of had an understanding of how to kind of form a community as well.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, you studied business, but then you dropped out.
Yeah.
You also, like, you've done a little bit more in between, right? What sort of jobs have you had in between?
Oh, in between. I've worked in hotels, in like operations and things. Working in hotels was wild. I have so many stories from that. It was so much fun and you meet so many different people. And that really taught me a lot, I think, about adapting just to life and quick changes and different people. And then in between, I've done all sorts. I had a paper round when I was like 13 to 16. Then I worked at IKEA in the restaurant.
Did you?
Yeah, I hated it. I'm sorry.
But I like the meatballs.
No, I did, but I got sick of them.
Did you? Quite cheap, aren't they? As
yeah,
well? So you probably...
every shift I was eating them like 4 times a week.
So now you're like, please don't me any.
Ever give me a meatball again.
Yeah. Amazing. And then you did recruitment as well.
Yep. So then when I dropped out in Glasgow, I stayed there and worked with a recruitment company doing the business development side of things, which again was so interesting. You know, I walked into a room and we're all in one office and there's like 10 people in the business and I was doing sales calls. The room is silent and it was just me on the phones all day while everyone just listened to me trying to sell.
And what were you selling? Like,
I was just trying to get them on board with our recruitment company.
Okay. To get like clients, for example, to join.
Yeah. So that taught me so much, you know, just cold calling and getting told all kinds of things like do one, you can imagine what you get told.
Yeah.
It's good for you.
Oh no, 100%.
So good for you.
You already know this, but I've got a sales background as well. And I was thinking about it yesterday and I was like, there's so many transferable skills that you gain from like speaking 100%. To different types of people, but also the rejection and getting told no.
It's so good for you.
Yeah, it is, like rejection theory and all that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think like when you do something where you get rejected so much, the bounds of what you like will tolerate and what you will do to put yourself out there becomes so much bigger. Like I just walk into places now and I'm fine if someone tells me like go away.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking about this a couple of minutes ago, weren't we? When we were saying how just to kind of go back, I actually met Cait in March 2024 at a Women in Business event. And, I just kind of joined her table and I was like, can I sit here? And you and, some of the people on the table were like, yeah, sit down. And, you do your typical, what do you do? Yeah. What are you working on? All of that, women in business and that. And you told me that at the time you were a virtual assistant as well. You had like a virtual assistant business and you were doing like BDM.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you'd started to have a creative workshop business.
Yeah, that was the beginning.
Yeah, and interestingly as well, I remember asking you, how do you kind of get your workshops in different spaces? Because I think you'd done a few kind of workshops already.
Yeah.
In apartment buildings.
Yeah.
And you told me like outreach.
Yeah, I genuinely wouldn't have a job at all if I didn't outreach. I wouldn't at all. Like pretty much every single workshop I do is from my own outreach. And I never get comfortable in it either. Like if I'm sat down on a Sunday, I'm looking who to outreach to, ready for when they go to work on Monday. They can open an email and it's like, hey.
I love that. Hey
guys.
Hey guys. Can I just come and do some workshops here?
Do you like fun?
Yeah. Is that what your template is? Do you like fun and do you want people to experience well-being through creativity?
You love that, guys. I'm really informal, so people always ask me like, what are you saying? It really literally is just, hey guys, I do this and this with this and this. Would you be interested?
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's such a good template to have.
Yeah. It's really simple. This is it. You don't need to overcomplicate it at all.
And do you think people do overcomplicate it? Because I definitely give people advice, like freelancers as well, and people who want to, I don't know, perform at a bar or a restaurant.
Yeah.
Like just send them a message, and a lot of people like really overthink the process and then they don't end up
doing it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You see, I used to work in a co-working space and I have this friend opposite me. And by the time I'd sent 20 emails maybe, they were opposite me still writing one because they wanted it to be so specific and personal, and that, like, especially at first, it's just not, I don't personally think it's the way forward. Like, time, time is important too.
Yeah.
And you're getting the same message across. And also, nobody wants to open their inbox to, like, a massive amount of paragraphs and paragraphs.
Yeah.
They just want you to go, oh, yeah, I know what that means now.
Yeah.
In 2 seconds. I know what that email is. So they can go, yeah, no.
100%.
Yeah.
And would you say, like, so your experience with outreach and for your own business, did that start because you'd had experience with cold calling for, like, the recruitment company? Would you say that's kind of where you saw it work, or?
Yeah, so when you sit down and you think, like, obviously I've worked in it where I know that calling works. When you reach out to people, every now and then someone does come back. And when I say every now and then, like, it is every now and then.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of people I've emailed versus the amount of people I've got back, like, you would not believe. Like, I think that's why people get so quickly disheartened, is you have to email so many people before you do get that one response. For me, the obvious next step is to tell people you exist. Like, I genuinely was emailing people before nothing even existed.
Yeah.
Like, because they go hand in hand. You need a client to make it real.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So, like, for me, the next step was no one knows I exist unless I tell them I exist. So then it was Instagram DMs, emails, calls, walking into places, you name it, I've done it, and it's probably embarrassing, but YOLO.
YOLO.
Forever, man.
Some people might think it's cringe, but who cares?
It's so cringe, but I don't care.
You don't care. Well, obviously as well, and I think the great thing as well is just from, like, that initial outreach and, doing what you've been doing.
Yeah.
Like, your business has really grown a lot in the last year, right? You don't just start working with, like, Pretty Little Thing.
No.
If you just kind of, like, and we were just discussing this, like, what even constitutes a small business?
Yeah, I don't know what a small business is. And I think as well for people, when you see, like, I've got so many friends that have small businesses and they have people say to them, oh, how's your little business doing? And they're like, oh my gosh, this is my whole life. It takes up 24/7. Like, that business isn't little.
Yeah.
But I don't know what constitutes a small business at all.
Because you've literally, like, you've got a team, right? Like, you've got people that go and do workshops on your behalf, because, you can't be in
everywhere at once.
500 different places at once.
So at the moment I've got a few friends that I've brought on board to jump in and things get chaotic. I am looking to bring someone on more properly now, part-time with me, as things are growing really quickly. And I guess it's really hard to adapt to something that changes every single month to such a big extent, I guess. I feel like it's there and I'm constantly running, trying to catch up.
No, I get you completely. So with that then, so if you're someone who, like you were saying, that next month you're doing, like, 25 workshops. Yeah. So is that, like, 25 days of the month? So
sometimes I do lunchtime workshops as well. So I'll have, like, double days. So yeah, but it will be pretty much a big Monday to Friday every day. I will have at least one workshop usually.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, when do you sleep?
I don't know.
When do you sleep? And then with that, like, what are some of the challenges that you found this year? Because it's all well and good, like, growing something, getting traction and, making things happen over the last, it's not even been a year.
I know, it's weird.
11 months. Like, what are some of the kind of, any moments where you've been like, what am I doing? I'm gonna quit. I just need to, like,
I will tell you something. I've never once thought I'm gonna quit, but I've always, every day I will be like, like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how this happened, but I'm here now. And I think, like, something that we don't speak about is enough is failing. I fail all the time. I fail at everything constantly, but that makes me better.
Yeah.
Like, we have to fail at so many things in life to learn how to not.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's part of it. Like, I make mistakes all the time. I fail all the time. I've never had this much admin in my life. Like, I've never, And keeping on top of that, when my brain works the way it does, you know, I've got ADHD, I'm a dopamine hunter. Sitting and doing my admin isn't fun. I put it off. It, you know, it gets on top of me.
Admin's the bane of my life.
Yeah.
I hate admin.
Everyone thinks you just run a workshop. I'm like, guys, this is really the smallest part of the business is probably running, you know, the workshop. It's the supplies, it's keeping on top of trends, keeping on top of new workshops, having new ideas, constantly outreaching. But oh my gosh, yeah, I fail when I've tried 3 different BD emails and, you know, they're all short and simple, but one will work more than the other and I've had to edit that out. You know, some people might think it's a fail when you sit there and you send 200 emails and no one gets back to you, you know, or like so many things go wrong. I literally could sit here all day and tell you about everything that goes wrong because it's everybody's first time on this planet, you know, and
wow,
it is.
I don't know why that really was like,
yeah, it's everyone's first time here though.
I don't know why that one line that you've just said, I'm like, yeah.
So we're all going to mess up.
We've only done this once.
Unless
you believe in reincarnation, then this is like your 80th time.
Yeah, maybe you've done it 80 times, but I still forgive you. You know what I mean, though? Like, we're all going to make so many mistakes. I've made really rubbish mistakes. Just, it happens. It's life. It's our first time here. Find me a person that's not failed or made a mistake. You won't. It's about what you do with that mistake or when you fail.
Do you know what? It's really funny you say that because we had a conversation about this, right? Yeah. And it was probably like quite early on in your business. Yeah. And I was like, you know, what's the goal here? Like, what do you want people to feel when they come to your workshops? And can you tell me a little bit more about that? Because I think you've kind of touched on it, but...
Of course. I'm so passionate about making mistakes and messing up. Like, when you come to one of my workshops, it's about being creative. It's about the journey of being creative and how good that is for your brain. It isn't even about what happens at the end. It's about that you've took time out of your day to make something, and maybe along the way you'll make a million mistakes with it and it doesn't go the way that you wanted it to go. That's the point. Make mistakes, be messy. Like, we're all people. Do you know what I mean? And I want everyone to know that it's so okay to make a mistake. A million times, make different mistakes and be creative and play. And we learn so much more from stepping back and letting go and being loose and messing up.
Well, I think with your like workshops as well, so you do like different things, right? It's not just like one specific niche. Like, I feel like it's constantly like you said, keeping up with trends or like you've got wine glass painting. Or, I mean, I think you can paint anything, can't you, at your workshops?
Yeah, we paint everything, guys. Like, vision board. We do vision boards as well. We do crochet, work with like clay and moulding. Wine glass painting, cocktail glass painting. Oh, there's everything.
Do you do that for a specific reason? Like, is it because, you know how like a lot of businesses as well, and you know, you see this thing about like niching down and they just have that one thing, whether it's like, I don't know, wine painting. Like, is there a particular reason why you have so many different outlets? Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I actually really like that you've got a little bit of something for everyone.
Yeah. Like, nobody just likes, you know, everybody enjoys something different. So I think it's so important to have variety, whether you like the feel of clay, like it's a sensory, it's like playing with clay is a sensory journey and that's really messy. Someone might love that, but then the next person might not love that and they just love painting on the glass. And the next person might love collage work and working with vision boards. And a lot of the, like, my clientele, I'm back every month. So it's really important that we have a variety of things for people to choose, so that we're mixing it up for people.
Another question for yourself, right? Because you obviously said that you're naturally like, you know, very creative, and creativity is almost like a passion, right? Like you were sending out cards to your neighbors and being like, buy this, buy my new card. How do you, because some people, what they're worried about is monetizing their passions. Purely on the basis of the idea that maybe they'll lose passion for the thing that they're monetizing. How do you kind of have that, I guess, right amount of distance so that you're not getting like resentment towards, you know,
100%.
your actual workshops that you're running?
So I don't think I've found the balance right now. Like, I'm on a journey to finding the balance. Like, the way that I used to pick up a ball of wool before, or I'd pick up like a piece of clay at home and try and make something, you know, it isn't as frequent as it was, because by the time I get home, sometimes it's 11, 12 o'clock at night and I'm covered in pain and, you know, so I think sometimes removing myself and having that time off to just say you've not picked it up in ages and pick it up is really important, but I still struggle to put the time aside to do that for me because I'm doing it for everyone else now. So I've not found the balance for that yet.
But in 2025 you will.
Yeah.
We'll have a day where we just do some creative stuff then.
100%.
I don't know what my thing is though, because
you'll find it when you've got all these different things and mediums in front of you and you're picking it up and you're feeling it and you've got different techniques of things, you'll find what you're naturally drawn to. 100%. I'm like mostly naturally drawn. Like for the last year I've been more drawn to wool. I love crochet, but I love, like, I get in a mood to just pick up a massive ball of clay, like, you know, it's so different. And I'll see things as well, and I will, like, if I'm online and I see a reel of someone making something, I will go home and then make that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's my sister's birthday on Friday and it's her big 18th, and I've tried to like craftify things at the tables and things like that and add my spin on it.
Yeah.
So things like that, I still try and put the creativity into it. But I guess right now, the creativity is more focused on the business as a whole.
Yeah.
And using that, you know, to work on the business and what we can change and what kind of workshops we can do and looking at supplies and all of that. I guess the creativity is more channeled into that as a whole. Yeah.
I think that's interesting as well, because sometimes people don't associate creativity and business.
Yeah.
I definitely do. Like, I'm a big believer that, you know, I am a creative person when it comes to, like, you know, building and pivoting and things like that. What would you say to those people who think that business is not a creative degree, or maybe they're a bit like, why should I go to business school? Because I am a creative, I'm an artist. Like, what do you think the, I guess, relationship is between creativity and business?
Like, to be creative to me is to stand back from things and come up with so many ideas, and you're visually thinking about things and, you know, editing things to an image in your head, and just to start a business is to create. You know, creating is building. Like, for me, there is no way that they don't go hand in hand. You know, if you own a business, you're creative, whether you think it or not, because you know, to create is to start and to build, and that is what a business is. Like, I can't see the differentiation between them two at all.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's really good. Question as well. So there's a lot of, like, you know, especially when it comes to community, right? There's a lot of community events, a lot of sort of creative events. Like, every, like, man and his dog is creating something, which is awesome, right? And I think we've had this conversation before. Like, if someone is a bit worried about, like, starting their thing, like their community or their creative workshop, like, what advice would you give them? Because a lot of times, sometimes people won't start things because they might think the market's too saturated, or well, this person's done it, so I can't do it. Like, what's your advice there?
Like, all you can do is take a leap. And it's really scary, and you're not going to know what it looks like, and you're not even going to know what it means when you do it. All you can do is start. Yeah. Like, that is it. You've just got to really hold your breath in. You've got to be bold, and you've just got to take the leap. You know, you think people care, and they don't. No, but they don't.
No one cares about you.
No one cares what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, everybody has a life of their own. And if you're sat there really thinking, like, oh, like, what if this, and if everyone thinks this? Listen, nobody cares. And the thing is, so many people thought I was delusional. You know, they really did. People thought I was delusional, and you're only delusional until it happens. Yeah. So be delusional and let people think you're delusional, because, you know, you'll be the one on the other side, like, delusion. You know,
look what delusion is. I'm now living my best life.
Be delusional all the time about what you can get from life and yourself and others. Don't settle for less. Like, be delusional and just start. Like, literally sit there and send an email and tell someone you've got a business doing this, and then you've started. And what you're going to do if they email back, you're going to start.
Absolutely.
You just have to take that first little,
Absolutely. That's, I think, for me as well, that's kind of like how my business has started. Like, I made an Instagram page of being a coach
Yeah.
a year ago. And then people were literally like, okay, so what do I need to do to like access your services? And I was like, oh shit, I better like create a website.
Yeah.
I was like, and everything's come afterwards. Like everything's come in like, do you know what I mean? Like it's almost kind of, you do it backwards in a way.
You do though.
Which is really cool. Question for you. So you've got a background in like BDM. Like what is BDM for people who don't really know what it is?
Yeah, okay. So I constantly say BD.
Yeah.
That is business development.
Yeah.
And to me, that is phoning people, emailing people, DMing people, walking into places and just telling them who you are and what you do.
And what made you kind of initially get into BD?
I'd quit university, and I wanted to stay in Glasgow. That's where my boyfriend at the time was, and I was like, I need a job. Like that's really it.
I need money to pay the bills.
Yeah, I need a job, and I went to my interview actually with but who became my manager at the time. He's called Gary. I speak to him now. And we were there for like an hour. Like we were just loving it. Like we were having so many chats, and he's worked in sales his whole life. And he was like, I want you on my team. Like you can sell. And to be honest, to have somebody that was sat on a desk next to me that would listen into my calls and be like, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like Jordan Belfort.
Yeah, he'd be like, having even just having one person that believes in you even a little bit, like it, what he did really, really helped me. Like,
wow,
it's so daunting when everyone in the room is deadly silent and you're on the phone trying to get a sale. It's such character building.
Yeah.
And I had to do it because I had bills to pay. Some days, don't get me wrong, would I want to ring people that I don't know and try and sell to them? No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. But am I so glad that I did? Yeah. Like 100%. And having someone champion you in that. Like I remember when I told him I was leaving because my partner at the time, Michael, he'd got a job in Manchester, and he was like, I'll get him a job in Glasgow if you stay. Like, please, I'll find him a good job. Like,
he's so desperate to keep you there as well.
But having somebody that believed in you like that much, like, changed the game for me. I was only 19, and he was just like, like, you're good at that. He was like, tell more people, like if you can do anything today, tell more people that they're really good at something when you see that they're really good at something.
Love that.
Like I constantly, like if I see that someone's good at something, I'm like, you're really good at that. Because we don't compliment each other enough. People are really scared to just tell someone, like, you're really good at that. Like,
I think we've been really good at that over like this year, like regardless of what each other's been doing, just been like, woo, excited
100%.
for you, proud of you, that looks good.
I love that.
Do you know what I mean? I think
100%.
It really makes your day. Like I think
so
literally
good.
the other day when, funnily enough, I'd just done my webinar and you were like, I think you were like, love that for you, or like excited for you, and I was like, oh my gosh, like and like it just made so much sense to like get you on here as well, because
so good.
I think having that like ability to champion other people and like almost like provide opportunity, and like you said, you've brought your friends in like on board to help and things like that. It's pretty great. Another question.
Yes.
And our lovely editor will have to edit this because it might go before the stuff we were talking about.
Okay.
I'm like,
yeah.
no, I'm joking. She's like, God, why are you making my life so hard? So you obviously had this like business development background, right? You enjoyed speaking to people. You were always quite entrepreneurial. But what made you specifically, like, you could have gone down any route, you could have created any type of business, but what made you kind of go down the creative workshop route?
So there's two things that I really, really love. I love people and I love hosting people. Yeah. And I love being creative. So when I have had my flats over the years, like I would put on nights for my friends. So in October, I'd be like pumpkin painting at mine, and I'd make a big charcuterie board, and I'd get decorations, and I'd get everything ready and do that. And I loved it. I love hosting people and giving people something. And I love being creative. And so it made so much sense. If I was going to do anything, it would be doing what I was doing in my home for my friends on a bigger level.
Yeah. Now you're hosting people all over the UK.
I know, it's weird.
That's mad, that, isn't it? That's crazy. Question as well. You've brought like additional things to the business, whether it's kind of do it at home sets.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you're starting like a creative community as well, right?
Yeah.
Specifically for women.
Yes.
What has made you kind of iterate like throughout the year?
Okay, so there's like, obviously, I'm really passionate about female friendship and community. I think it is invaluable to have women in your life that support you and create space for you. And I find being a woman can be really hard, like really hard. In so many ways, and if I can just create a space for people to have connection, then I feel like I've done something good. You know, it's really about trial and error. So like all I'm constantly trying to do is trial and error things, and it doesn't always work. Like we launched the craft kits, it was too much for me to keep on top of with everything else. So that was error. That was, you know, I had to go, no, that doesn't work. But you don't know it doesn't work until you try it. So now I have gone back to the drawing board with products, and we're launching an adult colouring book.
Nice.
So we'll see what happens with that. But like you have to like come back to yourself, and I had to come back to myself for this year and go like, what do I want to create like for people like me that I didn't have that, and it is that female-based community, friendship, creativity, and just the bond that I want to create for other people. Yeah.
So everyone should come to your
Yeah, please do. If you want to meet new women and you want to do it in like a fun, relaxed, creative space, then Chaos and Community is coming at the end of this month. If you struggle with interaction, it's really good because you're going to be concentrating on doing something physical with your hands, which I feel like can help people with anxiety and meeting new people. Every month the events are gonna, you know, we're gonna add in more events and things like that. But yeah, this is my way of coming back to me. Usually everything we do is pretty much business to business. So I wanted to kind of do something to try and give back to the female community. Yeah.
I like that as well, because initially it did start like, you know, public spaces, right? And then, you know, you've been very, very fortunate to kind of work with private clients as well. Like you said, you do a lot of B2B stuff.
Yeah.
So was this, like you said, just an opportunity to kind of go back to your roots, or like what's kind of the business decision there? Because a lot of people as well, like when they find that something works, you know, they make a business out of it, it becomes, you know, profitable, 100%. Things like that. Like what kind of was your thought process? Because again, I've kind of watched this journey.
Yeah, you
like
have.
I've seen like you've gone from sort of like, you know, like you said, just literally doing loads of outreach, doing loads of events at different spaces, and then working with different clients. And then also kind of, I've seen like the iterations. Does that make sense? Like, just from an outsider perspective, like what's the game play on it?
Yeah, 100%. So I love working B2B. I love going back to the same clients every month and providing something that I see really, really works for them. But at the same time, like, the reason I started this was because I loved hosting my friends in my home. And I guess like that means there's a bigger need for that. You know, it's post-COVID, this world is really hard to navigate, I think. I think it's really altered a lot of the way people socialise or are scared to socialise. How would I want to meet new women is in a space that someone I know me. So in a space that someone like me created that just wants people to make friends and have a community and have a space, and it's all organised for you. It'll be, you know, it's there for you. You just have to turn up. And it's just really important. You know, last year and a lot of my life I've really struggled with being a woman and the things that's brought for me. Like I struggle with endometriosis and things like that, and also like trying to navigate the business world as a woman sometimes can be hard, and being taken seriously. So I feel like if, you know, I can just give that space back to people to connect and have the people that back them and champion them, I really hope I can do that.
You've said that word twice as well, so it obviously means a lot, like the importance of either having someone who champions you or you being someone who champions other people as well. Which is really like, obviously, it's amazing.
Thank you.
I love that word, by the way, champion.
I do.
It was my team name when I was in sales.
Was it?
Yeah, because every time I used to ask my granddad, like, Granddad, how are you? He'd always say, I'm champion.
Oh.
And so like that idea of like being someone who champions others. And I think that's obviously why I do what I do, you know, like in terms of like coaching people, helping people. And I feel like you said, this kind of community that you're building, it has kind of the same effect. Like you want people to come and feel, and like you've got a big, you talk a lot about like well-being, right? Like mental well-being. Is that kind of the goal? Like you want it to be also like a safe space for people to come and...
Yeah. I just want some people to have a space where they come along and they know that there's no judgment. Just come as you are. And you know that you're in a room full of people that just want to be around you just because you've come as you are.
I love that.
Yeah.
So from doing cold calls in recruitment to hosting at your house, you realised that you could take something that you enjoyed and you're passionate about and bring that to the world.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not qualified in any way.
I love it. I love that. And for anyone who is, you know, considering going to university or maybe they've dropped out of university and, you know, they're passionate about something.
Yeah.
What advice would you give them?
Okay, so I feel like when you're quite academically capable, like especially in like your A-levels and GCSEs, they push you down this one route and you're just told university, and you just go, oh yeah, university. That's what I did. I didn't really understand what that meant until now. University is really not for everyone. It isn't. And I think our education is still quite old-fashioned. There's a way you do things. You have to sit there and you have to memorize it all, and then you have to sit down and just write it all. That is not for me. That is not for a lot of people. It's not very accepting for creative people or people, neurodiverse people. You know, I don't think university is even adapted to that yet.
I took 5 years to complete a 3-year degree and I was undiagnosed ADHD.
Yeah. I didn't think they're ready for us all to go in and be like,
yeah, well, I didn't even know how to wash my clothes. Do you know what I mean? So
no,
I know that was just so overwhelming.
No, you was trying to navigate like being on your own and being self-sufficient, and then you're being told you have all these deadlines and all sorts. It's really hard. Like I would just sit in my lecture with an AirPod in and I'd be watching Married at First Sight.
I was watching Prison Break.
Yeah, see?
Prison Break and then Gossip Girl. I didn't leave.
Just sorry. Like, I'm sorry to say it. I wasn't listening to you guys.
Engaged.
Yeah, I know I'm in debt, but it's okay. But like, again, like it's just reiterating, if you're good, that's part of the plot.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Sorry. Can we just like really like focus on this idea? Because I love the whole idea, like this is part of the plot.
Yeah.
Would you say that's how you kind of live your life? Like in regards to like, you know, dropping out of uni, doing like BDM. Is it BDM or BD?
Yeah, BDM, bit both.
Sounds a
it's
bit,
the same thing.
sounds a bit off. So BD, BDM. You were just making
business
calls.
development management or business development.
Business development.
Yeah.
This is why we've got an editor.
Yes.
Because I just don't know what I'm talking about right now. So you obviously were doing BDM and then you came home and then you were like hosting your friends and you were like, do you know what? I'm going to do something wild.
Yeah.
You mentioned, again, not to go into so much detail about that, but you mentioned like, you know, a lot of events kind of led you to kind of do something a little bit.
I'm happy to say I got dumped in the bath.
She got dumped in the bath.
I got dumped in the bath and it's... Thank God I got dumped in the bath for the plot. Always.
Plot.
I will thank that bathtub and that bath bomb forever.
Yeah. Do you think that also kind of gave you the
fire in my belly?
The fire in your belly to be like, do you know what? I'm going to do something and I'm going to make something of myself.
I'm way bigger than, like, after that I thought, I'm way bigger than I ever thought I was. And I'm way bigger than I was, you know, in that time of my life. I think I just diminished myself to, you know, I work and I clean and I cook and sometimes I make plans. I do not live my life like that now.
How do you live your life now?
I do, when I wake up, I do whatever I want. On the weekend, I do whatever I want. Like, I just do what I want and it doesn't matter. I eat what I want, I see who I want. If I've got a mad idea, I do it because it's for the plot.
It's for the plot.
Yeah. And, you know, life's been weird and crazy things have happened. You know, there's people that have come in, there's people that have come out. And I'm so glad for everyone that came in. And I'm so glad that some people went out, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I would never have done any of this if I would never change anything that happened, because God knows where I would, you know. You have to go through weird and really rubbish things sometimes to get to a point where you're like, for the plot.
It's for the plot.
Yeah.
And do you kind of live life like that?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what?
Sorry, I need to cut.
That's okay.
I'm really getting into, because I really like this idea of like for the plot, because I don't know about you, and I know whether it's recording or not, but like, and maybe it's an ADHD thing, maybe it's not an ADHD thing, but I used to, like, when I was in my kind of reckless era and I was just being a bit crazy, you know, that typical undiagnosed female ADHD.
I feel ya.
I used to think, oh, you know, it's for the movie. It's like a movie. My life's like a movie.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I'm on meds now, and I've got my life in order a little. I'm a little bit more stable.
Yeah.
But I still do things that are wild and are audacious, because I
love that word.
Audacious.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, I want to kind of be like, you know,
For the audacity,
right? Like, I want to look back in a year and be like, and I do. Like, I look back at like the last year and I'm like, oh my God, I did that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that?
Yeah.
Do you have moments like, do you know what? I want to look back and be like, I did that.
Yeah, 100%. You know, my whole life, everyone's always called me Crazy Caitlin.
Yeah.
That's my full name, Caitlin. I go by Kate, but I feel like, I am crazy and I'm weird, and, you know, I could never have got nowhere near this if I wasn't. Because there's no, you know, we're all made for different things, and some of us just can't walk into somewhere and go, hey, I'm Kate.
Yeah. Which is what you do.
Yeah, this is what I do. Do you like that?
Yeah.
You know?
Question then for you. So obviously you work with like Pretty Little Thing, which is insane, like really, really great in terms of just what you're doing.
Yeah.
How did that come about, and how was that? How was that like?
Yeah.
Were you kind of like, pinch me, like?
100%. And, you know, it was harassment in a good way, in a nice way.
I love that.
Yeah.
Outreach or harassment.
Yes. Am I going to get done with the restraining order? Who knows? I bashed down people's LinkedIn's DMs until I kind of obviously got to the point where I knew I had the contact for it.
Yeah.
And then every month I just went for it, you know, and it took me months. It probably took me from March and then the workshop was in October.
But was that always like your vision? Like you'd love to do something there?
I would love that. Yeah, I was like, you know, everybody knows Pretty Little Thing. And I just, in the first year of my business, to go there would just make me so happy. And it did. I couldn't believe it. And the only way I did it was persistence and audacity.
You were just like, I'm here. I'm here again.
You're going to hate me, but I'm back again.
And how was that like when you did it? Because that's obviously like, again, quite a pivotal moment, right?
I couldn't believe it. Do you know what? In that day, I had a Pretty Little Thing workshop, and then I was on a panel at Manchester University at the night. And on that day, I got home, and I was just like, what has even happened?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like a year ago, I was just so not happy.
In the bath?
Yeah, in the bath thinking, just, you know, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
And a year later, I'm like, what is going on?
That's mad.
I know.
It's crazy. And what would you say? What's next for?
Okay.
What's next for Cait?
Yeah.
Right. And then what's next for Create and Craft?
Okay.
Because sometimes people will just like
the same thing.
Yeah. Merge like you and your business, and in actual fact, like you are
a person.
You're a person.
I forgot that too.
Right? It's so easy. Like, oh yeah, it's Cait from Create and Craft. Like, ooh. But like you're obviously you're a person, and then you've got your business. So like, what's next for both of you?
Yeah, of course. So for me personally, I've got a health journey to go on this year.
Right.
I had an operation on the 23rd of December, and we found some things that are wrong. So I think I've got a bigger health journey ahead of me than I thought I had ahead of me.
Okay.
So I need to, sometimes I don't treat myself like I have things wrong with me.
Right.
And I do. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes when I have a bad pain day or things, I need to slow down, and I think I need to realise that I'm not Wonder Woman. And
Not yet.
I'm coming for your job though. I need to come back to myself. I've got some things planned. I just need to kind of wait on operation dates and things. And then for Cait and Craft, we did 131 workshops last year, and I want to double that this year.
Yeah, I saw that. I was looking at it and I was like, I think she's just kind of like, I think she just doubled everything.
Yeah.
Because she's like, do you know what?
More, please.
Let's just double down. Let's double down.
Every day I'm like from the world, like, more, please.
Amazing. And if anybody wants to kind of, I know there's a lot of people in Manchester, and I always kind of recommend your workshops. If I ever meet anyone who's like, not just creative, but they are really into like different sort of modalities, I'll always be like, do you know Cait? Do you know Cait? Speak to Cait.
Come here, guys.
Cait. Honestly, this is why I was like, has anyone messaged you yet?
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, how can we find out more? Like if we want to kind of join a workshop, or if there's a business here watching,
yeah, of course.
How can they, get your amazing.
Come to us, guys. So Instagram, Cait and Craft Workshops, and the website is caitandcraftworkshops.co.uk.
Amazing.
So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming here and sharing your journey. And I know a lot of people who'll be listening, if they're like, again, it's not necessarily just about age, but like you've just turned 23, right?
Yeah. You can do it, guys.
That's just wild.
Thank you.
I didn't even know my face from my ass at 23. So the fact, like, you're doing great. And I said this to you when I first met you. I was like, I was really inspired. And it's nice to actually be inspired by someone who, again, like in your words, you're a 2-time uni dropout. But I was
up all the time.
No, but I was genuinely really impressed when I was like, oh, what do you do? And you were like, yeah, so I do, I've got like a virtual assistant business, and I'm starting creative workshops. And I actually remember at the event and the venue we were at, you took an opportunity to actually go directly to the business owner, and you were like, yeah, like I've told them about what I do and I'm going to be doing some workshops with them. And you actually then...
I still work with them now.
That's mad. That's really great.
I actually forgot that. Yeah, no, I just said, should I just do it? And you guys were like, yeah, I went over. I was like, hi, I'm Cait. This is what we do. And her response was, we've been looking for someone that does that. So please never be too shy, And now when they have someone that inquires about anything paint related, they send it my way.
That's honestly like...
Thank you to them, and just thank you, everyone,
I'll end with this, and thankfully we've got an editor because I'm really struggling and to actually like speak. But one thing I was going to say, and I don't know if I've really even said that to you, to see someone like you at the age of 22 at the time, and the fact that you said that, you had these 2 businesses, and bearing in mind the second one, you'd only just started really, right? So it wasn't even like it was this fully fledged business, like you'd done a couple of workshops. Yeah. But to see you go directly to the owner of that business and essentially pitch her and put your foot forward, that actually really like inspired me to do outreach. Like it actually did, because after that, and I told you this, I did some outreach for another business, helping, getting their workshops out.
That is so good.
And it really did inspire me, because I remember actually asking you, like, how did you do that? Like, do you know what I mean? So, and I'm telling everyone to do outreach. Like, if you don't ask, you don't get, do you?
No, everyone do it. And thank you so much.
Because like it actually did. And if I really think back, like it was March, and that then kind of pushed me to start like putting myself out there a little bit more.
That is so good. Well, let that be a lesson, guys. You may be thinking that there's some people in the room thinking that you're wild and you're all of these things, but there might be someone in the room that's thinking, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, that courage is, what's the word? The courage that you see in others that might seem cringe is actually what you need in order to be audacious.
I love it. I love that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Give me your hands. I don't know. It's become like a tradition now. I hold the person's hands and say, let's pivot more in 2025.
Yes, 100%.
And now you have to say, let's pivot more.
Let's pivot more, guys.
In 2025.
In 2025.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.